Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and today, I gotta say, this year has actually been pretty good for my channel. I do really appreciate everybody for your support. Oh, and also I would like to say, not only thank you for your support, but also thank you guys for helping me reach 200 subscribers. In fact, I'm a little bit over 200 now. And I think pretty soon I'll be at 210 subscribers, so I thank you guys a lot. I thank for all the support I've been getting. So let's wrap up the new year with my top 5 worst movies of 2019. Hello everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Abe.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Josh too.
Now here's the thing, before I start this, I have seen a lot of movies that came out in 2019, but I have not seen, like, a lot of movies that have came out in 2019, if that makes sense. Like, I've seen quite a lot. In fact, this has probably been the most, like, the year in which I've seen the most movies in theaters and everything. So, but I've also have not seen a lot of movies even I've wanted to check out yet. So, who knows, maybe after the new year, I may do it, like, early in the year, maybe a part 2 of both these lists, maybe, if you guys want me to do that. But as of right now, this is where the list stands for me for both my top 5 worst movies of 2019 and top 5 best movies of 2019. Coming in at number 5 is Avengers Endgame. Now, by no means is this a horrible movie, but I did have a lot of issues with this. Like, especially coming from the high trains of something like Avengers Infinity War, which I consider, so far, the best MCU movie to date. And here's the thing, I honestly doubted that they could have topped, you know, just the size and scale and epicness of that movie. And on that, I do remember a lot of people were saying, you know, they had a lot of concerns too with Avengers Endgame, and one of which was being Captain Marvel, Brie Larson being thrown in the mix, especially after a not so great movie for a lot of people. Honestly, you know, Avengers Endgame was my first introduction to Captain Marvel, not this year's movie of Captain Marvel. And I felt like she didn't get in the way of everything. You know, I didn't thought she would be a bad mix-up in it at all. Like, at least I didn't thought that was the case for the movie. But for me, there was a lot of story issues and everything. Especially since you got involved time travel with this, and knowing that with the treatment of certain characters like Thor has gotten horrible treatment in this movie. He doesn't even get a redemption arc. At least Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi got some form of redemption arc. Like, seriously, hashtag justice for Thor. And knowing that there's a lot of slow points in this movie, which I don't mind, but it's just all kind of really boring in that. There were slow points in Avengers Infinity War, but everything was so interesting. But there are some good things about this movie and everything, and it's a film I wouldn't mind checking out again, maybe. It just would really depend on how I'm, you know, what mood I'm in.
I like this one.
Coming in at number 4 is It Chapter 2 from 2019. Honestly, for me, this was a massive disappointment of a movie. Now, there are some things I do like in it. I actually kind of liked it better than most people did. But I gotta be honest, it was a massive disappointment. I really loved, you know, the first It movie from 2017. But I will admit that film did have some issues, so I was hoping they would fix those in It Chapter 2. And boy, did they not. In fact, they made a lot even worse problems with this movie. For one, the thing is, with this movie being about 3 hours long, and there's a lot of stuff that just feels like filler and that does not add whatsoever to story or character development. And knowing that Pennywise in this isn't as scary as he was in It Chapter 1, I mean, Bill Skarsgård still does a really good job as Pennywise in this, but man, the writing and everything did not help him whatsoever. And knowing that, like, the stuff they add from the novel, I feel like they didn't do that well on. Like the ritual of Chud and all that stuff, and the way they defeat Pennywise in this. And also the fact that this film has like cuts from the current time and that to flashbacks of when they were kids and that. And sometimes the flashbacks would cut to stuff that honestly doesn't mean anything with the rest of the story. Also, speaking of those flashbacks, they also have child actors from the first movie return, but because of the fact they've aged in it, they had to digitally de-age their faces and actually change the pitch of some of their voices, and you could clearly tell that, and it was very distracting. And knowing that, there was nothing in this film that was even remotely scary. And there was some stuff that was even remotely scary in the first one. And it's like, in Chapter 2, it's done by the same people who did the first one. And I'm like, how the fuck were they able to do that? Coming in at number 3 is Aladdin, the live-action remake. And, there's a lot of issues with this one, especially with me after rewatching the original again for the first time. And a lot of it is the live-action element. They're trying to simulate, they're trying to capture the look and feel and everything of the animated one and translate that to live action, and it does not work. And knowing that there's certain stuff like the CGI isn't that good, like for example what they did with Will Smith as the genie as far as the CGI on him, especially when he turns into that blue thing, and it's like his head does not fit on that body at all. He's kind of like one of those bobbleheads you see, except the head is smaller than the body. In fact, it's almost like the body's supposed to be the one that bobbles, and the head's about to almost fall off of it. And knowing that Jafar in this movie, I did not like seriously. And I heard this guy is a good actor and other stuff. I personally haven't seen any of his work, but if that's the case, then man, they should have picked a better director or whatever. And just this whole film screams laziness. And know that the song sequences are really disappointing. In fact, when me and Amanda went to see it, we were so disappointed by the Prince Ali sequence. Seriously, and we think to ourselves, there's some stuff they could have changed around with this movie to actually make it really good. But it's just because of the fact there seemed to be no care in it whatsoever, and just the sheer amount of laziness. And knowing that for me, the only actors who seemed like they were literally giving a fuck were Will Smith and Naomi Scott. Coming in at number 2 is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now for me, I was really looking forward to this. Now, just for me, the first 2014 movie wasn't that great. There were some cool shots and everything, and just the monsters in that seemed really cool and badass, and the fighting. But we barely got to see them in that. And knowing that the only character I so much was in really for was Bryan Cranston as the father, but they end up killing him off. So it's like the rest of the characters are really bad. So going into Godzilla King of the Monsters, I thought, and seeing the trailers and everything, I was like, okay, this may be actually better. And going into it, they got some things a lot better, but some things not so much. And these are important things in my book. And a lot of that is that they got the characters really, the characters' development and story and everything is even worse. The writing's even worse in this movie. And I was like, even, seriously, seriously, and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in this film, but, yeah, so, even with all those cool action scenes with, the monsters and Godzilla fighting and everything, even they don't look as epic as they did in the 2014 movie. And even with all that cool fighting in that, it does not save from a terrible script and even terrible acting.
This is Godzilla's world. We just live in it.
Damn right.
And the number 1 worst movie of 2019 is, for me, the new Lion King movie. For me, this movie, it's first of all, it's pointless. There was no reason to do a live-action adaptation remake of the original Lion King. And it's not even live action, it's just another form of animation. And knowing that, there's nothing new that's really done with this story. At all. In fact, the stuff they do add in it, it's completely pointless. Like, seriously, there's literally a scene in this movie that's, you know, a scene of Simba's hair floating about, and you see said journey of that hair, and eventually it gets rolled up into a ball by a dung beetle, like a ball of shit, and that's how it gets to, and that's how, you know, and then it gets to Rafiki, and that's how, you know, Simba's still alive. And knowing that all the actors seem like they have a performance of that they don't give a fuck. Even James Earl Jones, who's normally a good actor, is like, yeah, seriously, they came here for, seriously, they called me in for this shit. I thought I already did this shit, and I thought I did really well the first time around. And it's just pointless. It not only doesn't look good, like, I will give credit that it actually does, like, the photorealism and stuff is actually good. There's times where it's fooled me. But that doesn't excuse everything else, and for me, that is the worst movie of 2019. So that's it for this ranking video. This has been Joshua Myers, and I will see you next time.